Well, howdy there. A couple days ago, I saw The Cabin in the Woods, and I'm still not sure what to say about it. Again, I saw it, I think, like 3 days ago. I haven't had a chance to record, and I'm trying to figure out what I want to say, and I'm just not sure, primarily because so much of the film depends on surprise. And to talk about it will kill the thrill. So I have decided to be pretty vague and try and wrap up my review pretty early because I really loved the film. I really have no problem giving it a 9. I had an amazing time in the movie theater. One of the best times I've had all year. I think it's very fortuitous that both this and The Raid Redemption are out in the theaters right now, because I honestly think you could see a double feature of the best films of the year so far, with The Raid and now The Cabin in the Woods. The Cabin in the Woods is about a group of college students, 5 of them to be exact, go out to spend a weekend in a cabin in the woods. And it turns out that this cabin in the woods is a experimental playground slash altar slash government experiment, I guess. And not everything is what it seems. And that pretty much sums it up. Not everything is what it seems. I had a great time at this movie. I think it's totally original. I think it's funny. I think it's super smart. I think it's scary. Forward-thinking. While loving the history of horror cinema. It pays tribute and wants to look to the future. It's outlandish. It's insane. It's fun. Sexy, I guess, even. Okay. It was written by television giant Joss Whedon, who's responsible for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Firefly. What else was he a big part of? I guess Angel. Some other stuff that I'm not familiar with. I want to say Veronica Mars, but I'm not 100% certain on that. Co-written by Drew Goddard. I'm not familiar with his name. It's kind of sounds familiar, but I think I'm just telling myself that. It's also directed by Drew Goddard. Joss Whedon has a particular skill at group dynamics. He really knows how to make a group of people with diametrically opposed opinions and personalities just seem to bond realistically, and really it just makes it entirely believable. I don't know how else to say it, but he's an excellent writer. I mean, he's an unbelievable He's an unbelievable writer. Again, highly skilled with characters and the way those characters relate to each other, and how they, interplay. So again, we've got a core group of 5 teenagers here, so it plays right into Whedon's skills. The movie stars quite a number of people. A lot I didn't know, a lot of new faces here. The ones I know are Richard Jenkins, Bradley Whitford, Chris Hemsworth, I think, Thor. I think it's Chris Hemsworth. Who else? Some faces I recognized. The Stoner, I definitely recognized. I wish I could pin him down to something I've seen him in. I've seen him in a lot of stuff. He steals the show in this. He's excellent. I wish I could remember his name, but I can't. Lots of young, pretty faces, new faces that I didn't really know. Hopefully they get some work after this. I think they should. Those are really the only 3 names I'm that I know. Richard, all the acting is really good. Richard Jenkins is great. He's always great. Bradley Whitford, he plays that Bradley Whitford character, and he fits in perfectly here. All of the actors, all the characters are great. The characters so well written. Again, I start wanting to give away details, and I know I can't. Excellent design. I mean, this is like an homage to the horror genre. It's like a love letter. Which I think is funny. It's like we're seeing all these where Hollywood is running out of ideas, and we're just doing sequels and sequels and remakes and remakes. And now we've got this little other subgenre that's popped up as a homage, a love letter to a certain type of film. I think of Hugo, I think of Raid, and now I think of The Cabin in the Woods as perfect examples of honoring a certain genre of film and film, in general. I guess why I'm not giving it a higher score. One, I mean, maybe I'm just too overwhelmed by the film right now. I could say that, I was incredibly excited when I came out of the theater. Maybe in the future, when the impact is worn off, I could see it maybe going down to an 8 for me. But I don't know. I could see where it could go up to a 10. It's just so smart, and I think that every time you watch it, you could probably find something new. It's incredibly layered, so it will age well. It actually has been sitting on the shelf for some time. I think it was originally intended to come out around Valentine's Day of 2011, and here it is, 13, 14 months later, and it's finally out. It's, been stalled. I think just because, the studio didn't know what to think of it, what to make of it, how to market it. Because it's so different. I mean, it's very different. The reason I say it may go down is that, it's, I think, too divided. But again, that's part of its charm. It's the first half hour, and again, you will see references to horror films throughout. I mean, throughout. They're not... I mean, some are pretty overt, but some are sly. The first half hour is the scary half hour. That's where all of the... That's when I jumped, when I jumped in my seat, which I only did once, but I did it in the first half hour. Actually, maybe twice. There are some good, like, shockers. So maybe I jumped twice, but both times I jumped were in the first half hour. So it's like the first half hour is your standard horror film, setting up the characters. You get a peek into the greater story that's going on. But it's primarily just the traditional horror film, The Kids in the Cabin. The cabin, by the way, is the cabin from Evil Dead, which is terrific. I love that. Evil Dead is one of my favorite films, so anytime you can reference that directly. They also directly reference The Shining in this, which I loved. So the first half hour is like this traditional, straight up kind of scare fest. Then like the second half hour is where things get deep. You start to think, you start to wonder, you start to figure this mystery out. Again, it becomes less scary and more about the, thinking. And then the last half hour is just insanity. Just like, what the hell is happening here? Which, again, makes it entirely fun. So it's not very cohesive, but it's got this story to tell, and it tells it very well. There were some walkouts. There were some people who walked out. The theater was mostly full. I would say nearly sold out. I got there a little late and did not get the best seat in the house, but I still had a fun time. There were, I think, 4 to 6 people who walked out that I could tell, because I had a good vantage shot of the door. I really don't know what else to say, other than I think it's probably the most original film of the year. It's one of the best times I've had in the theater. Again, I think I read somewhere a quote that I'll summarize, paraphrase, is it's, scary, funny, smart, occasionally, all at the same time. That's true. That's true. The acting's great. The storytelling is superb. That's the highlight is the storytelling and the story that they've got to tell. The direction is fine. This is a debut film, which I think is impressive. I think that's, makes it all the better to know that this is a new talent. I can't say that, anything about the direction like sticks out in my, head. There's no amazing camera shot that, sticks out in my head, but, this is a passion project, and you can feel that. You can tell that. It's a roller coaster. I kind of hate using that term, but it really is, a roller coaster. I don't really know what else to say, but I want to see it again. And maybe after I see it again, I'll have a more formulated opinion and thoughts, but I absolutely loved it. And I think it's one of the better films of the year. I haven't had a better time in a theater. And if you love film, you've got to see this movie. You've got to see this movie. Just if you love movies, you've got to see this movie. Not just horror. If you love movies, you got to see this movie. I don't know what else to say. I'm sure I'll review it again. So that's The Cabin in the Woods. It's a solid 9 for me. Thank you very much.